Hey guys, it's Lynn from Curiosity Crochet. Sorry I've not put a video out in about a week. I haven't been feeling too good, but I wanted to get something out for you guys, and we're going to do this hat today. Nice little brim. I've got a pom-pom on mine. Obviously, that's optional for you guys. I am going to show you on a small scale again. Instead of making the whole hat, I'm going to show you each step on a small scale, just so that I can get this video up for you guys, because I know there's some people out there that like to make this one. It's got little shells, front post. The brim is front post and back post, and we'll go over all of it. There's also single crochet in the pattern on the top. That's what gives the different colors in there. So you will need two colors. Today I'm going to use just some stuff that I've got laying around, and I got this at Dollar Tree. Surprisingly enough, they were $1 a piece. So it's Premier Just yarn. It's just a 4-weight, but like I always say, you can use any yarn, any hook that you'd like. Just make sure that the hook is like recommended for the pattern, whatever they recommend, and then one size smaller for the band, because it just brings it in a little tighter for you. And for these, I'm going to use 4.5 and 5 today. And then you need your scissors and your tapestry needle to sew in the ends. So what do you say? We'll just jump right in and get started. Okay, so we are going to start with the accent color. We're going to use that for the brim and the accent. So I'm going to do mine gray and blue. So the gray is going to be the brim and the accent. For this pattern, has to be multiples of 6. So your brim, whatever you make the chain, make sure it's a multiple of 6 so that we can work the pattern right. So, like if you're using a chunkier weight yarn, you'll probably need less chains than I would need. And if you're using a lighter weight, you would need more, obviously. So, like I said, I'm going to do mine on a real small scale so that I can get this video worked up for you guys. So, I am actually going to chain 24. I'm going to do 30. So it'll be small, but it'll be big enough for me to work on. So let me get that and I'll be right back. Okay, now that you've got whatever number of chains that you need for your circumference of whatever head you're making it for, you're going to very carefully follow this down, all the way down, back without twisting it, all the way back down to your very first chain. And we are going to slip stitch into that first chain. So you're going to pull a loop through and through. Okay? And then we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, which doesn't count as anything, it's just our builder. And we are going to double crochet ourselves in every stitch around. So make sure you start in that one you slip stitched in right there, if you can see it. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. And then you are literally just going to do that in every stitch around. Pull through 2, pull through 2. Just follow your chains around. Pull through 2. Pull through 2. So follow that around and I'll meet you back. Okay, now that we've come up around, always make sure you have the same amount of stitches that you did chains. So I always like to count and make sure, especially when you're working with multiples, so that you make sure you have the right multiple when you start the top of the pattern. So now we're gonna skip this chain 3, not worry about that, and we're gonna slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet. We're gonna chain 2 again, Still just a builder. It doesn't count as anything for these rows. And now we're going to do some front posts and back posts for this brim here. So we're going to do 2 front posts, and then we're going to do 2 back posts, and then we're going to keep repeating that. So I'm going to show you. So remember, don't worry about this chain 3 here. We're going to do 2 front posts around the first 2 double crochets. So we're going to wrap our yarn. We're going to go in through the side here, come up behind it, pull up a loop, and then finish your double crochet. We're going to do that one more time. Yarn over the hook, go in and come up behind it, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now we're going to do 2 back posts, which is yarn over the hook, and we're going to come up from behind and go back through. So now your stitch is sitting behind your hook. You're going to pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. Now you can do that one more time. Yarn over the hook, come up from behind, go around that stitch so that it's on the back now. Pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. So now that's what we're going to repeat. We're going to go 2 front posts. Remember, this one goes in and comes out, so that's sitting on top. Finish your double crochet. Do one more, in and back out. Finish your double crochet. And now we're going to do 2 back posts, which is yarn over, come up from the back and around it so that your stitch is on the back of the hook. Pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. Do one more, up through the back and around, pull up the loop, go through 2, go through 2. So now that's what we're going to repeat. We're going to do 2 front posts, 2 back posts, 2 front posts, 2 back posts, just all the way around for the length of your chain. And then I'll meet you back. Okay, now that we've come back around, I don't want you to get nervous, because normally when you work with front posts and back posts, it ends opposite so that it kind of goes together. Well, because of this pattern, because it's a multiple of 6, these work in multiples of 4. I picked the band because it looks good with the pattern. So when you come back around, you're going to have 2 front posts next to your beginning 2 front posts. But believe me, it doesn't make much of a difference. It still looks really cute, and I think this band goes well with this stitch that I made the hat with. So really don't worry about it. We're just gonna work with it, and you won't even really notice, and you can make that the back of your hat if it bothers you. So now we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first front post. We're going to chain 2, and now we are literally just going to repeat what we just did, but now we're going to go over the post that we just made from the previous round, sorry. So you're going to do those 2 front posts and your 2 back posts, and then you are just going to keep repeating that all the way around. And what you're going to do is make it whatever width you want it. I generally do about 6 rows for my bands, depending on which band I make, but with these I generally do about 6 rounds. And but if you want it wider, do more rows. If you want it thinner, do less rows. Just get it to where you would like it to be, however it looks best for you. And then we'll meet back up and we'll get going on the top part of the hat. Okay, now that you've got how many ever rows you want for your brim, I wanted to jump in here and just let you guys know, when we start this row here, which is probably the next part that you're going to see, change your hook size. I forgot to say it in the video. So when you're done with the brim and you start this first single crochet row, you're going to go to your bigger size to do this top part. So just don't forget, the brim is the smaller hook, the top part is the bigger hook. Okay? We're still just going to slip stitch into the top of that first front post. Now what we're going to do is start the base of our pattern. So with the same color, you're going to chain one, right back into that same stitch, you're going to single crochet. Then you are going to single crochet your way all the way around until we get back to the beginning. So just one single crochet in every stitch until we come back around. Okay? And I'll meet you back. Okay, then when you come back up around, make sure you don't go into this here, because this is where you're connected at. These are your chain 3s here, and this is where you're connected. So make sure you don't put an extra stitch in, because that'll throw your stitch count off. So just make sure your last stitch is in that last post stitch, and then jump right over. And before we slip stitch all the way, because we're still going to be using this color, we're not going to detach it. We're going to go in here and start our slip stitch, and we're going to grab our other color, and we are going to bring it through, and we're going to slip stitch that one in. Just make sure you pull that other one nice and tight, and then you can drop that. I like to put the first stitch over it just so that it holds it in place, and then I drop it. But so what we're going to do is we are going to chain 2, and we are going to double crochet right back into that stitch that we slip stitched into. That's going to be our first stitch of this pattern. So you go into the top now and just do your double crochet, and now you can drop that your secondary color and put it out of the way until we come back up around, because this single crochet row is going to be your every other row, and now the one I'm showing you now will be the other row. So you'll do a single crochet row, this row, single crochet, and so on. So let me show you this. So we started with the double crochet. We are going to skip the next stitch, and in the next one we are going to put 3 double crochets. So yarn over, pull up, go through 2, go through 2. Now right back into that same stitch we're going to put 2 more. One more in that same stitch. Now we're going to skip one again, and we're going to put 1 double crochet. Well, I should say this is the start of this. The one you're going to repeat is the one we'll do. I don't want to confuse you, because this is basically the repeat, but the row after the next single crochet is what you're actually going to repeat, because this is the start of it. I hope I didn't confuse you guys, but I'll tell you when we get there. So now we're going to skip one again, and we're going to put that 3 double crochets in again. So here we're going to do 3. 1, right in the same stitch, 2, 3, all in that same stitch. Now we're going to skip one and do 1 double crochet. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We started with the 1, and then you're going to skip 1 and do 3, skip 1, do 1, skip 1, do 3, skip 1, do 1. So now next you'll skip 1 and do 3. And then after that you'll skip 1, do 1. So every other skip you're doing 3 or 1 right after each other. So it starts to look like that. So go ahead and repeat that around for this round, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, once you come back up around, you should end on a single double crochet, and you're going to still have 1 to skip, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet. So you'll technically have 2 singles here together, but there'll be a chain 2 or 3. It's kind of up to you, however you want to build it. If you want to do a chain 2, if you want to do a chain 3, it's up to you for this builder right here. But either way, you'll have a chain in between your 2 here. Oh, no, don't slip stitch all the way because we're going to change colors here. So go in, and then because we leave this attached, hanging here, you just come back here and, well, just come back here and pull it through and do your slip stitch with the other color then. And then, like I said, I like to go over that color just once with 1 stitch so that it stays in place, but it's totally up to you. So for the row with the accent color, you're just going to chain 1, because on these rows we're just going to do single crochets around. So right back into that same stitch, we're going to go in and do a single crochet, and then I'm going to drop that other color till we come back around, and then just 1 single in every stitch all the way around. Okay, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, once you come back around, make sure you don't forget about this last double crochet here, and we are going to start the slip stitch and bring up our main color again and slip stitch with that color. Pull that tight. Now this is going to be your repeat. We are going to chain your 2 or 3. I'm just going to do 2. And we are going to put a front post double crochet around this one down here. So you're going to go below that single crochet to this double crochet we started with, and we are going to front post double crochet around that one. Bring up a loop. Make sure you raise it a little high so that it'll come up and finish the double crochet. And then we are going to find the middle of these 3 here. So this is your first stitch you're skipping, and then here's your 3. So you want to go right in the middle and put those 3 in. So you got 1 right in the same stitch, 2, 3. Okay. Sorry about that. I got distracted by a noise I was hearing out in the other room. But anyways, make sure when you're doing these front posts, you pull them up high enough I'll show you here. So again, you're going to jump right to this next one that's by itself below here. Don't worry about the single crochets. We're going to this one below. You can yarn over and go around it and pull up, and make sure you pull up enough that it's going to be tall enough so that it measures up. so that it's going alongside there. See, like this one I probably could have pulled up a little higher, but that was my mistake. So then again, we're going to go right in the middle here of these 3, which is right here. And we're going to put 3 double crochets in there. 1, 2, 3. And then again, where this double crochet by itself is, we're going to go around, pull it up nice and tall, and front post double crochet. And now that's your second repeat. So you're going to, your one repeat is the single row of single crochets. And now this row is going to be your front post around that single one, your 3 double crochets in the middle, and then again over and over again. So let's do that one more time. You're going to put 3 right here in the middle. 1, 2, 3, and my yarn is stuck. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, every time I try to make you guys a video, my yarn wants to fight me. And then we are going to front post around this double crochet down here. Like I said, just make sure you pull it up nice and tall so that it's going along nice and pretty with it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to repeat this, the front post double crochet, the 3 in the middle, front post, 3 in the middle, front post, 3 in the middle, all the way around. And we'll meet back up and we'll do the single crochet row one more time. And then I'm going to let you guys, I'll let you know how tall to do it and everything. So I'll meet. Now that we've come back around, don't forget about this last double crochet down here. Make sure you do your last front post, and we are going to start our slip stitch into the top of that front post and bring in our other color. Well, we're going to pull that through, and now we're going to do our row of single crochet. So make sure you start right here in that first stitch. Well, you want to chain 1 first. Sorry about that, guys. Make sure you always do that chain 1 there. Then go into your first stitch and do your single crochet. And then drop your other color and then just single crochet your way all the way around. This row is nice and easy. The other one is too, you just kind of have to remember to do the 3 in the front post. So let's go ahead and single crochet all the way around, and I'll show you one more time on that row, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now we've come back around. Don't forget to do this last front post with a single. And then we're going to go into the top of your first single, start your slip stitch, grab your other color, and I am having all kinds of issues tonight. You're going to grab your other color, and you're going to slip stitch that one. You can drop that one. And we are going to chain your 2 or 3, whichever you want. And we're going to start right here. And we're going to front post around the post now. Make sure you bring that up nice and tall. Finish your double crochet. And then right here in the middle again. Basically, you're skipping the one that you went into and one more. And then this is the middle one. Because see, this is coming up through the 3rd. This one's coming up out of the 2nd. So that's where you want to go and do your 3. 1, 2, 3. And then skip ahead and put your front post around the post here. Pull it up nice and tall. And then, like I said, you're skipping the one you went into. You're skipping 2. And then you're doing your 3, if that makes it easier. So you're going to skip 2 and then put your 3 in it. And then your front post around the post and bring it up nice and tall. Okay, and then that's what we start getting with our little peekaboos. Isn't that cute? Okay, so that's what I want you to repeat. I want you to repeat the single crochet row and your shell row over and over until you get to the height that you want it to be. Now, for like a regular size beanie, I stop at around 6 or 7 inches. Usually about 7 inches before we do decreases. If you want it to be slightly slouchy, I would do 8 or 9. If you want it to be really slouchy, I would go up to 10 or 11 before we start the decreasing. Because there's still a few rows of decreasing that'll give you the extra that's going to finish off the hat. So you don't want to go too high, but you don't want to go too low. I wouldn't leave it any less than 6 inches though, or it's going to be way too short. So bring it to where you want it. I'll meet you back and I'll show you how we're going to do the decreasing. Okay, now remember I'm doing mine on a real small scale, so don't worry about what this looks like. When you get it to the length or the height that you want it to, we're going to start decreasing. I did one last row of single crochet on my regular size hat and then started the decrease. So you're going to end on the single crochet row before we start the decrease. And then we're going to do, basically we're going to start the same way. You're going to chain your 2 or 3. You're going to still do this first front post nice and tall. And then instead of doing 3, we're just going to do 2. We're going to go in here and we are just going to do 2 double crochets. It's the only difference in this row is we're bringing it in slowly. And then we'll still do that front post. Bring it up nice and tall. And then the 2 double crochet instead of 3. Okay? So that's what we're going to repeat around for this row. Just going to do 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? And then I'll meet you back. Okay, then when you come back around, remember, don't forget this front post here. We're going to start our slip stitch, bring in that other color, and we are simply going to do 1 row of single crochet around in every stitch. So chain your 1, go back into that same stitch, single crochet, drop that color, and then just single crochet in every stitch. And you'll have 1 less in every cluster this time. So we are just going to follow that around. Okay, so single crochet around and I'll meet you. Okay, coming back up around. Remember, don't forget this last double crochet. Don't forget to single in there. And then we're going to change colors again. And now this time, drop that other color. Chain your 2 or 3, whichever you chose. And we're still going to do this. We're still going to do our front post because we're going to keep that going for now. And now what we're going to do is we are going to take these 2 together. So now you're just skipping the 1. And we are going to see, because if you come up here or you start from down here, you can see that this is the first one here. So we're going to go in here, pull through the first 2 and hold, go through the next 2, or next one, pull through 2. You'll have 3 loops, pull through all 3. And we're still going to do the front post. And then we're going to do that again. If you can see where it is, that's great. If not, you're just skipping 1 now. You're skipping the 1 from where the front post is. So you're going to go into that first one, pull up a loop, go through 2. Go into the next one, pull up a loop, pull through 2. You'll have 3 loops, pull through all 3. And then you'll do your front post again. Okay? So do that all the way around and I'll meet you back. Okay, so when you come back up around, don't forget about your front post here. And we are going to change color one last time. So go into the top of that one and grab your other color. And slip stitch it. And now, instead of just doing 1 single crochet around, do your chain 1. We're going to do 1 in this first stitch that you slip stitched into. And then we're going to do 2 together. So you're going to bring this one that you did together from the previous row and your front post. You're going to bring those together just with single crochets. So then you're going to put 1 by itself and then put 2 together. Okay? So 1 by itself and then 2 together. Okay? And at this point it should be coming in pretty good. We're going to do 1 more row after this of just single crochet, but we're going to change back to your main color to do that last row and close it up. So do that 1 and then 2 together and then I'll meet you back. Okay, now that you've come back around, we're going to change colors one last time. So go into the top of that first single, grab your other color, slip stitch it. And at this point, you can cut off that accent color because you don't need it anymore. And we are going to simply chain 1. And now we are just going to single crochet ourselves together all the way around. So you're going to put every 2 together. 1, 2. 3 loops on your hook, pull through all 3. And we're going to do that all the way around. One thing I want to mention is if the hole is small enough for you before you do this row, go ahead and cinch it up and be done. It's up to you. I just like to bring the tops of mine in pretty close. It's easier to cinch up, I think. Because mine is so small, I'm not going to do this last decrease. I'm just going to do 1 single around so I can show you how I cinch it up. But do yours around and then we'll meet back up and I'll show you how I cinch. Okay, once you come back up around, make sure you slip stitch into the top of that first single crochet. One last little trick I like to show people that I learned. If you pull up a little bit here and you go into the next stitch from behind, pull this loop to the inside like that, then it's on the inside when you do your little chain 1, and then leave yourself some string to sew up with. You can cut that off and then just tighten that a little bit. Grab your tapestry needle, thread it up. Now on my other hat, like I said, I put a pom-pom. I used the color of my brim for the pom-pom. I use a pom-pom maker. I don't know how you guys do it, but I use a pom-pom maker, and then I attach it from the strings that are hanging, and I leave this string. So I actually always turn it inside out, whether it's going to have a pom-pom or not. I just think it looks better. So I turn it inside out, and then if you can see this, I go in and out of each of the stitches. So you came out this one, you want to go in to the next one and out from the one after that. Just in and out of each stitch till you get back to where you started. And then cinch that closed, and then I go back and forth a couple times here just to pull it nice and tight. I mean, normally on a bigger hat it doesn't look like a pin at the end here. But then on the last time that I go through, I leave a little loop, and I go through there to make kind of a little knot. And then I sew in my end just a little bit. If I'm not doing a pom-pom, I sew it in a little bit more. If I'm doing a pom-pom, I just go through a couple of different times just to make sure it's secure. Because then what I was trying to say is this string here, from us doing this, I leave this. And then when I pull the string through for the pom-pom, I tie those together, make a knot, and then I sew them in a little bit more. Well, the one from the pom-pom, obviously, but then I sew these in, and, you know, sew in all your ends, and then it's attached better. I think it holds it a little bit more securely. But there you go. See how nice and clean that is? I mean, this is not a big size hat, but you could put this on a baby doll. So I made a real hat. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope I didn't confuse anybody too much. I hope I walked you through it well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm going to try and get as many videos as I can done in not till next week now. This is not the sympathy vote or nothing, but my cousin passed away this past week, and the wake and funeral are Sunday, Monday, so I am going to be a little busy to be making any tutorials or anything. But I will be back next week. I'm going to try and get, there's at least 3 that I'd like to get done next week. So, and they're still hats. I'd like to start doing a little bit different stuff too. But I tried making a dishcloth. It didn't really get any attention. So I just got to play around a little bit. Thank you to the subscribers I do have. And, I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys stay good, okay?